Welcome to Guitar Town. When Gibson started building the jumbos, the J series, the J35, J45, J50, that shape of guitar, um, they still made smaller guitars, but the shape of them changed and sort of became a smaller version of the jumbos. Those guitars, that series is called LG. I'm not sure exactly what LG stood for. It's usually something guitar with Gibsons with those kind of prefixes, but I'm ignorant of that particular piece of information. My very first Gibson guitar was an LGO in 1970, I think, or 69 or 70 LG. I think it was a 70 LGO that my grandmother bought for me brand new as a bribe to get me to go back to high school, and then I got the guitar and then I dropped out anyway. But so I kind of have a soft spot for these things. They're great sounding guitars. They're not. The one I had was a student model. This one is not. This was definitely professional equipment. It was just more of a regular sized guitar, and the jumbos were jumbos, just like the name said. Jumbo, Dreadnought. Martin and Gibson both were telling you that these guitars were abnormally large, but we've come to accept that as being the standard because we're Americans and we like everything bigger and louder, and we're sort of entitled. This is a kind of interesting because it's the oldest LG series guitar that I own, but it's from the World War II era, wartime guitars as opposed to pre-war time and post-war are a thing of their own because there were shortages of certain materials. This is, it's mahogany backs and sides, just like its big brother, a J45 from the same period would be. And I have a J45 from this period, and it has some wartime idiosyncrasies. My J45 has a mahogany top, which is very rare on a Gibson of any sort, and they didn't make very many of them. I think they were only made in 1946 when mine was made. It was actually right after the war from wartime parts that had accumulated, I would assume. There's the headstock wartime guitars are the Banner guitars. The famous Buddy Holly J45 was built during the war or right after, so it still had this logo, stenciled on the old school script. And you can see if I can get it close enough and if it'll focus. The banner says, "Only a Gibson is good enough." Now, a friend of mine who admittedly a Martin snob once said what it actually should say is it's only a Gibson, it's good enough. But Gibsons are they exist to compete with and undercut Martin in price. So they weren't as high quality an instrument, but a lot of them are really, really great guitars and they have kind of a voice of their own. Also, wartime thing, 3-piece neck. You see those laminations there. Very, very rare on any Gibson. Flat tops are very. I've only seen a few with these laminated necks like this. It's more common on arch tops on big jazz boxes. It pops up on several models over the years. And what else? Oh, straight bridge, which is kind of weird. I don't know why the LG series at this point had a straight bridge when they'd already gone to a belly bridge on the bigger guitars. It's really, really a great guitar. I don't have any guitars that sound any better than this does. And they're very well balanced because they're a little smaller and they don't boom quite as much. So a lot of people like to use them in the recording studio. I have another guitar that is really interesting from 1951. It's the same shape, but it has this Florentine cutaway. It's a CF100, which stands for Cutaway Florentine, I believe. I'm sure Florentine is the F part, which the Florentine styling comes from the mandolins and this type of cutaway. It shows up on other guitars. The harp guitar, some of the O, the Model O, like I showed you in one of the first Gibson video that we did. And this guitar's the 51 CF100. These guitars are people really like them. They're kind of unique. There's an electric version of CF100E. Ray Kennedy has a really good one. I've been trying to talk him out of for years. Joe Glazer has a really good one. I've been trying to talk him out of. But this is unusually good one. A lot of times you get CF100s and they'll start it out as great guitars, but they'll be really problem children because once you put that cutaway in the body, it sort of affected the structural integrity of the design. So I got lucky, and I've got one that is just so there and has never had any issues, and hasn't had to have a lot of work done to just sort of keep it straight. For some reason, when this cutaway was, when they worked it in, it does change the bracing pattern slightly, and it doesn't always survive that. And mine's really, really good. I heard a rumor once that Bob Dylan collected these guitars. That he had several of them, and so I used it for. I recorded a Bob Dylan song for a benefit for a theater in upstate New York recently, and I used this guitar to record that. R.S. Field and I were talking about. He produced a record called Terraplane that I made. And we were talking about this, and we're pretty sure this is the guitar that I used on this song, which is why I tuned it to open G before you drive yourself crazy. And it goes like this. It's like. I'm standing on the corner, bleak and combined, money in my pocket and women on my mind. I'm free, can't nobody tie me down, nothing ever worries me, ain't nobody's daddy now. Now the New York City women are the very finest kind, clacking on them highs like an engine down the line. I'm free, can't nobody tie me down, nothing ever worries me, ain't nobody's daddy now. I used to have a woman who worried me to death, hand one in my pocket and the people's in my neck. But I'm free, can't nobody tie me down, nothing ever worries me, ain't nobody's daddy now. I got a baby on the east side, a honey on the west, got a woman uptown, but the downtown gal's the best. And I'm free, can't nobody tie me down, nothing ever worries me, ain't nobody's daddy now. Watch this, baby. I'm free, can't nobody tie me down, nothing ever worries me, ain't nobody's daddy now. She's gone, I'm free, can't nobody tie me down, nothing ever worries me, ain't nobody's daddy now. 1944 Gibson LG2 and 1951 CF100. See y'all.
I sounded great.
Yeah, it was okay. A few boogers in it, but oh.